Hey guys, what's going on? Kulprit here, and today I want to talk about something that's kind of surfaced a little bit in the news lately, and that's the removal of the Levolution from the China Rising DLC. Now, first I want to say this is actually not news. We've known this for a while now. Actually, since before China Rising, I saw interviews that basically were developers talking about, the Levolution for China Rising. So when people were kind of confused when China Rising came out, like, where's the Levolution? You touted this so highly and now it's not there. It was quickly, people dug back through and they found these interviews, and quickly you could surmise that it was removed for whatever reason. Now, the reason you're seeing it pop up now is because recently on Reddit, there was a thread there about somebody who was digging through the game files, and he found a lot of audio files that basically were meant to be for these Levolution events, so basically confirming what we thought, that that was planned for China Rising, and that for whatever reason, I mean, you can infer what you like, they removed them before release, obviously. So, we've seen some videos pop up about that and some discussion, and I've had discussions on Twitters. Did I really just say Twitters? But anyway, I had some discussions, and I think some people, people are upset, clearly. I mean, you tout this stuff, and whether you feel like Levolution adds anything to the matches or gameplay or not, it is a cool feature. It's neat to have in there, and when you kind of tout something so highly, and then your first DLC that comes out, you remove it, you kind of feel a little cheated, right? I mean, so I want to go beyond that, though, and I want to talk a little bit about why it's important and why I think, if, in good faith from DICE, they really should consider revisiting this and implementing it. As I believe I saw Levelcap's video, he touched on this as well. That I think it would go a long way to showing us that you're serious about supporting this game and bringing us the best product you can. Now, let's just talk for a second about what the Levolution was. There was Altai Range, you guys know, it's the big mountainy one with the big radar thing in the middle. This was supposed to be, as far as I understand, a snowstorm, which, again, snow coming down, lacking visibility, and I've seen mentions of snow drifts and things. We don't really know the details. I mean, obviously it sounds pretty awesome. I mean, you could go so far with this. I mean, snow drifts, you could get ice and things where, like, say, certain mountains couldn't then be passable by jeeps and things, which maybe only a tank could go up this mountain or use this roadway or that kind of thing. Snow drifts, maybe the vehicles would get stuck. You could go even further. You can do, like, tracks in the snow. How cool would that be? Everybody's been on that conquest point where the burn is not moving. There's another guy there, and you're both kind of doing this cat and mouse hide and seek game, and now maybe you come across footprints in the snow, and now you're like, oh, here we go, I'm stalking this guy. I think that would be awesome. I don't know if they could go that far, but these are all things that rush to mind. Dragon Pass, as far as I understand, it was supposed to be kind of rain and river flooding. The water levels come up. We know they've done that with flood zones, so we know that's possible. Again, that would be really cool because that would actually change that map quite a bit. Probably some areas would become submerged, some and it would allow better movement for the boats, which maybe gameplay wise wouldn't be better, but still it's intriguing. It's an interesting thing to talk about. Gwian Peaks, as far as I understand, it was supposed to be like a rolling fog coming down off those plateaus, those mesas or whatever, falling down into the jungle. It makes sense. And Silk Road was the dust storm, basically sandstorm. Now, one element you see that carries through all of these, between a snowstorm, rainstorm, and flooding, kind of rolling fog, and then a sandstorm, dust storm, is a lack of visibility. And we've seen that now on, what is it, Siege of Shanghai, when the tower collapses, the big dust cloud comes up, limits visibility. It's supposed to limit air assets. It's supposed to kind of hurt longer range gameplay. It's supposed to slant the map towards the infantry, make closer combat and things like that. We also see it, or at least some of us see it, on Second Assault on Gulf of Oman. The sandstorm rolls in and has very much the same effect. Limits the air assets, shortens your lines of sight to some degree, and it's supposed to just kind of re-slant the balance of the map towards infantry, towards closer quarter fighting. Now let's look at the four maps as they stand today, and what's one of the common threads of Altai Range, Dragon Pass, Gwian Peak, Silk Road, and that's their long range, long line of sight maps. I mean, Silk Road, obviously. Altai Range is very barren, rocky. It's got some undulations of hills, but there's very little by way of cover and things. And I mean, a lot of times for me, I feel like Altai Range particularly, I feel like I'm playing in a kill box. Like I'm just like a moving target for air assets. And it's very friendly for air, even vehicles, snipers, these types of things. And Dragon Pass to the same extent. Less. Gwian Peaks and Dragon Pass are a little bit less because obviously you have all the foliage, but foliage does not good cover make. I mean, with all things like Commander, Mav, Recon Balls, all kinds of things, it's very easy to be seen in foliage, and foliage doesn't stop a bullet, so it's still not cover. And you're gonna say, yeah, but you know, Glean has all these, and Dragon Pass has all these undulating, you know, terrain and little dips and things that you can use, and you can pillar and peek behind. Yeah, that's great, except for that depression you're standing in is also a funnel for the minis, you know, so it's very hard to, you know, play as infantry on a lot of these maps. And obviously Silk Road I don't have to go too much into, when you can pretty much get sniped very easily. Again, air assets, weapons, these are all long range, long light of sight maps. And you know, I want to be clear here before I get any hit. I'm not panning these maps or the DLC. I'm not complaining. I'm not anything. But what I'm going to argue to you is the reason these maps were designed in this fashion was because they had intended a Levolution event to thereby then swing that balance back. Now, could you imagine a like Silk Road, which would be the extreme, I would think, towards, you know, air assets, vehicles, and snipers? Well, now you would have a sandstorm swing in, and now suddenly the pendulum has swung more towards infantry, close quarter, gun on gun, you know, 100 meters tops, that type of warfare. Which now, so you know, you would have a shifting of how the map plays, quite literally, and it would be more in favor of the infantry, and which would make the map therefore overall probably more properly and more balanced. And I think these maps lack for it. I think now these maps are very, you know, again, these guys they're not, and again, you guys have to understand that I'm an infantry guy, so that's the glasses that I'm looking at this through, obviously. Again, not complaining, but just when you look at things like this, and it's not just that they took something pretty off of these maps. It's not just that they took this rainstorm and maybe a flooding river that you're like, oh, big whoop, no big deal. Well, I think it is to some degree, and I think it does affect the balance of these maps. And I think these maps with these events, if they were executed how they should be, is how it looks, would be better for it. And to me, as you look at these maps now at what they are, and then we get these hints of what they should have been, there's clearly a part of the kind of the meta of the maps missing. And there's a big hole, I think, there in balance, especially towards the infantry. Again, I'm not complaining. I'm not telling you they're terrible maps without them. But as I believe Level Cap said, I think it would be a very nice, you know, sign from DICE, and a kind of tip of the hat to those people that are still playing this game and that plan to stick by this game. That, listen, this is how we intended these maps. This is how they should be. This is how they will play the best. And let's do that for you. Listen, I have mixed ideas on whether that would ever happen, especially since they're so far behind and everything. But I'm just going to put it on record that I think they should, and I think it would be a good gesture by them, as I think just about everybody would at this point. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think these maps would play better if there was some kind of balancing effect back towards infantry, where, you know, the air assets couldn't just destroy ground units so easily? Something just kind of impeding them. Now, I'm not much of an air jock, you know, I'm not much of a vehicle guy, so maybe I misconstrue these maps and I'm not seeing it properly. Please, if that's the case, let me know in the comments. You guys know I'm always up for a little friendly debate. Like always, guys, I appreciate you watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, and I will talk to you soon, guys. Take care.